Hi, everyone. This is Jillian from Jewish Workshops. It is a pleasure to be joining all of you today as we open our third cohort of the Sarah Chana Radcliffe Academy. Before we get started, I'd love to see who's joining us and where you're from. So if you can go to your chat box and just write your first name and where you're joining us from, I would love to be able to welcome you. I'd also love to just get an idea of who's joining us today, what your background is. So if you could just let us know in the chat box with your name, if you've ever had a parenting course before, or if this is going to be your first one, or if you've already started parenting. If you have like a professional training education in the field, I'd love to see that too. And let me get started welcoming everyone. Welcome Amy from Montana and Javi from London. Welcome Shani from Yerushalayim, Randy from Australia. Welcome Miriam from Montreal, Zoya from Queens. Welcome David from Beit Shemesh and Elisheva from London. Oh, these are going so fast. It's so great to see people coming in from all over the world. Welcome Chaya from Beit Shemesh and Yael from Cherry Hill. Tehila from Silver Spring. Welcome, Barnett from North Carolina, Esty from Chicago. Welcome to all. And it looks like we have a mix here. First time taking a coaching course, another person first time. Let's see, Randy is a special educator. That's really great in early intervention. Wonderful to see. Bossy from New Jersey, welcome, taking many parenting courses, Montessori trained, really great. Civi from Brooklyn, special education degree, also preschool teacher, wonderful. It looks like somebody else is their first time, welcome, taken several parenting courses, not coaching though. That is great to see. Welcome to all. So if you've noticed, as I have, over the last several years, coaching businesses have skyrocketed. Following COVID, we've seen a huge uptick in people's desire to have a more fulfilling, purposeful, and meaningful career. We've seen the desire and need to have a more flexible schedule, and most recently, we're seeing how essential it is to bring in more income to our households, income that we have control over. So, with coaches popping up all over the world, why are we opening another coaching school? It's simple. The number of coaches may have increased significantly, but there's a difference between just becoming another coach and becoming a master in your field. The benefit from learning in the right place from the right teacher is the difference between becoming an expert and just becoming another coach. Today, Sarah Chana is going to be talking about the contents and goals of the program and how the training can be employed in a variety of professional contexts or as a fulfilling standalone career opportunity. You'll learn why becoming a Radcliffe parenting coach will give you a clear advantage in the demanding and exciting field of parent and family life education. Whether you're a licensed professional wanting to be able to offer more value to the population you serve, or you're someone who's always yearned for a career in the helping professions but didn't know how to get started, you will discover how the Sarah Chana Radcliffe Academy can help you achieve your goals. Plus, we'll have ample time to get your questions answered from Sarah Chana. And of course, for attending today, I'd be remiss if I didn't offer huge incentives for brand new students. So listen up for exciting discounts, bonuses, and everything that's included in this unique program. God willing, we'll also have past cohort attendees so that you can also ask questions to people who have already attended Sarah Chana Radcliffe's Academy and have graduated, which is a really exciting opportunity. And if you don't get all of your questions answered that way and you are excited to start but would like to talk to other people who have attended and graduated, we have names and contact details for those who have offered it up to speak to you specifically and make sure that you get your questions answered. But hopefully we will have time to get to everyone's questions and we will get started here in just a minute. Let me just make sure. Sarah Chana should be coming on in just a second. So let me go back and see. Oh, it looks like I'm a life coach and elementary school principal. I would like to use these tools to work with the parents in my school. That is fantastic. Will it be included in the course, how to get the first client, getting your name out? Absolutely. We are going to get into all the details of what's included, and there is a special business section included in the full course. So we will get started in just a minute. Welcome, Sarah Chana. We are ready to get started. I'm going to go ahead and actually pass the microphone right over to you.
Excellent. Okay. So we're just going to dive right into it. Hold on. Get my little slides up. Okay. All right. We are here today to find out if becoming a parenting coach is the career of your dreams. All right. And I'm here today to answer all of your questions. So, as I'm talking, you go ahead and jot down your questions. We're going to pause every few minutes, every once in a while throughout to give you a chance to make your comments, ask your questions, and then in the second half of this, it's going to be, a lot of detailed information and more opportunity for you to ask your questions because we want you to go away today with everything answered. And I'm going to start today with just answering the question I put out there, like what is a certified parenting coach? Is that a real thing? Is that a money-making career type opportunity? Is it a professional designation? Is there a board governing this? Is it like a psychologist or is it like a life coach? What is this thing? And can somebody actually make a living at this? Like just a practical question. So, when I was writing up my notes, I didn't want to keep writing certified parenting coach. So I used the initials CPC, okay, certified parenting coach. And so I'm going to use that short form throughout today's presentation, a CPC, all right? So a CPC is somebody who has actually studied the field of parenting. Now, they've studied it in a certain way. To be fair, if you take the Radcliffe CPC, that is the Radcliffe Certified Parenting Coach designation, accreditation, you will have studied parenting through my lens, okay? Now, my lens includes, just for your reference, research and information from the fields of psychology and neurology and mental health, the broad field of psychotherapy. It comes from a lot of places that over I'm going to give away a little bit here, but my 50-year career, okay, I have learned and studied from a lot of different places. And so what you're going to get in the Radcliffe CPC designation is a very broad spectrum of information that pertains to parenting, the work that parents do in raising their children. And so it's a little bit different than every other field. Actually, I don't think there's no umbrella organization. Maybe we'll start one day, that governs accredited parenting coaches. But I want you to know that this is a professional coaching course. It's not a weekend, like let's read a parenting book and let's go out there and help parents. Like it's all research based. Okay, it's based on the science that we have available to us, which is there's a lot of information out there, and I think that in order to help the largest number of parents, we have to draw on the broadest base of information. So a Radcliffe CPC is somebody who has studied a system of parenting that is organized, easy to understand for parents as well as for the parenting coach, and combines theory and practical applications to help parents who are stuck. Okay, parents who are not stuck don't consult parenting coaches. They muddle through. They put their kids to bed, they get them off to school, they have their relationships with them. And, they may ask their pediatrician a question here and there about behavior, about emotions, but they don't need serious help. In the olden days, if somebody did ask their pediatrician a question about their child's attitudes or difficult behaviors, very often the pediatrician would refer the parent to a psychologist as if there was some pathology going on. Now, sometimes there is some pathology going on, but many times there's no pathology. It's just that the parent actually has a very limited um, background, let's say, or place from which they're drawing their information to help their child get through something, whether it's um, intense sibling issues or violence at home or refusing to listen or who knows what it is, okay? But they have their own experience in their own family with their own parents. That's what a lot of people are drawing on. And then a whole bunch of people will be drawing on the available parenting books of the day. So, at one point, many decades ago, there was Dr. Spock, and whatever he said, that's what every parent in North America, anyways, I don't know about around the world, but would draw on whatever Dr. Spock said. And after Dr. Spock, there were a few books that came out on parenting in the 1960s and 70s, and these books or this reference points have changed, and different popular views have entered the mainstream. So you can look online, you can read a book, you can take a course. But for the most part, each generation has its model of how to parent. Okay, so if that gets the parent through the problem they're having, getting the kid to bed, getting the kid to not be so emotionally over the top or whatever, if that works for them, then that's all they needed to do. They just needed to read that book, listen to that podcast, whatever, and they've solved their problem. But there are a lot of people who will not find that their problem is solved just by what they themselves bring into parenting, or the little tip that their pediatrician offered, or even the wise word that their therapist, dropped in, or the books and courses that they've read. And this is where the certified parenting coach is needed. Okay? Not because the child necessarily has any special disorder or difficulty, but because the parent has run out of options and doesn't know what to do. Whereas somebody who has studied intensely a program, a system, an understanding, a body of techniques, that person can help them get over that hump and move on. So it's really an interesting field that way because it is very necessary. But it's a field, I would say, that's very much in its infancy. I just want to pause here for a second to allow you to just think a little bit about what I've said so far and to put your questions out there. And I think we have somebody reading the questions. I don't have them up here. So let's just take a moment and see if you have something to say or some question to ask just on what I've said so far.
It may take just a minute to get the questions in, but I don't see anything quite yet.
Mhm. Maybe it was perfectly clear. So I'm going to go on a little further. So we say, okay, so what types of problems do CPCs solve? So there's a few categories I'll mention here. We have parent-child relationship problems. We have behavioral problems that might show up in even children as young as, babies and toddlers, school-age children, teenagers. We don't call them behavioral problems, but there's problems that people have with their adult children. There are issues with mental and emotional well-being, things that affect the child's mood or their anxiety, sometimes their OCD and anger and trauma, which up to a certain point, a CPC may have just the strategies and techniques that will be quite helpful and deal with the problem well enough that the child does not have to go on for individual psychological treatment. But sometimes the child will have to, depends on what ails that child and family. But we certainly have the first line techniques to try for all of those things, ADHD, everything. And then we can also help parents up to a point also within our training, within the scope of practice, to deal with their parenting anxiety, their parenting questions, their parenting anger, grief, and sometimes despair. Again, enough that sometimes the person does not need psychological help. The marker for psychological help is that these first line interventions are not, they're not doing the trick, okay? But many, many times we do have the skills to do what's necessary to bring the parent and the child and the home into a much better place and good enough that nothing more is needed. Um, Certified parenting coaches can help parents develop their boundaries, establish their boundaries, develop their routines and structure of the home. Not everybody comes from a background where they know how to do these things. Um, and there's just innumerable challenges that come from raising human beings. A human being is a wild card. It's got to be the hardest thing in the world. We can't count on just loving the child. A lot of people are under the misapprehension that if you just love the child, everything will be fine. A lot of parents love their children, but the child presents real issues that can make the entire family suffer or cause traumatization in the siblings just from watching what one sibling is going through or doing. Um, it's a really complex thing. So we're not going to use what I think of as common coaching techniques, which is to sit down with a parent and help them to discover their own wisdom. This is not what a parenting coach does, not a Radcliffe parenting coach, okay? Um, a life coach might do something like that, like help a person tap into their own inner knowing to find their own voice and their own direction. Whereas a parenting coach is actually more like an accountant, a dentist, a lawyer, in the sense that the parenting coach has expertise. Okay. You have information to share. You have, like I said, the theories and the practical strategies that arise out of that information. So you're more closer to a teacher. You provide psychoeducation. It is a blend of relating clinically to your client, while you are definitely an educator and teacher, helping the person to acquire the skills that they need for the enormous task that's at hand. This information does not require you, and that for you to acquire the information that you want your client to acquire, does not require you to be some sort of academic genius, like a person of the book. Practically everything that I would want you to know, I think maybe everything that I'd want you to know, is covered in the course and in the materials that are provided with the course, which are in webinar form. Okay, so if you can listen and watch and rewatch and think and compare it to your experience and talk to people and just watch again and listen and think, you'll be able to handle this course. Okay, so it's not a bunch of books, although I would want you to read the couple of parenting books that I wrote that are most central to the material that we're covering, just so that you have in writing some of the things I'm saying. But those books were designed not for professionals necessarily, but for lay people. So your client can read those books. You can read those books. But the difference between you and your client is that you're going to have a lot more information than is contained within those books, um, you're not subjectively involved. It's not your kid. Like you're going to be able to look at what's going on from the outside as a professional and draw on the information that you have to help the parent apply what they're reading, because you'll find that many people that have read the books, even if they read the Radcliffe books, they don't know how to apply the Radcliffe method to a particularly challenging child. And for the most part, you're going to, as a parenting coach, come across the challenging people. And you're going to have the pleasure, the satisfaction, and the fulfillment of making those situations easy for somebody, relatively easy. because you'll be able to see exactly what needs to be done and help the parents to do it. And in general, you're going to get wonderful results, which is why the career, it's a big reason why the career is very gratifying and satisfying. You're not, like I said, like a coach who has nothing to offer, um, just turning the person back to themselves. This can be very frustrating. Um, you know, people want to know what to do and they want somebody to give them that information, but their doctor will, even if they knew the information, won't have all the time necessarily that's, available, that's necessary to give it. Not that it's a long time, but doctors, work in 15-minute little spots, that's even if the doctor had it. But most often, the other professionals do not have this information. This is a unique field with its own information. Nobody really has it. Yes, CPCs are supportive, something like therapists or counselors. Usually, the person who wants to be a certified parenting coach likes to help people, may already be helping people for free. Like just, I read this book and they have great tips and advice, and maybe you're already running your own little parenting group somewhere, but now you want to upgrade to a truly professional level. So sometimes the person's like that. Other times, the person who wants to become a certified parenting coach would not consider themselves necessarily the kind of person who wants to be a psychotherapist. Okay, so like a lot of people go like, oh, I don't want to listen to people's problems all day. That would be terribly draining. I would get depressed from listening to people's problems, and it's interesting because that doesn't happen in parent coaching. It's not that kind of depressing profession. It's actually extremely uplifting. We're going to talk about this in a couple of minutes as we get to why this career is such a fantastic career. But I just want to say a little bit more about the nature of the career itself. Even though the examples I've given you are about parenting in general, many people who become a certified parenting coach are very interested in a particular area of parenting. It might be that they're very interested in ADHD, or they're very interested in adolescent personality disorders, or they're very interested in helping families who are dealing with trauma, or they're very interested in something else. What the We can develop a particular specialty within the specialty of parenting that speaks to us, and we would have a niche expertise, a niche market for that specialty, which would provide a tremendous resource not only to the community at large, but also to parents, uh, the community at large, meaning parents all over the world, but also to the professional community, to people who need, like the psychologists and the therapists and whatever, who need the parenting piece addressed, would come to you for that niche specialty. So you might also decide after you get into parenting that you actually do like some of the other kinds of work that border on parent coaching. So maybe from there you would want to one day become a psychotherapist. Maybe that's the part that would interest you, and moving from the parenting piece to the psychology piece or to the counseling piece and taking more courses and more accreditations, maybe using this as a starting point, and then going broader. Actually, it's an amazing base for that kind of growth into the helping professions if you want to do that. I myself did that. Okay. I never planned in my life on being a psychologist. I started my career in helping parents. So my very, very start of my career was actually in helping children with handwriting and things like that, and their learning disabilities. And then parent education kind of was alongside that. And then it became mostly parent education. And eventually, I actually went back to school and took exams and licensing to be a proper registered psychologist, because for this reason, exactly that I wanted even more, but I had a very solid base in the parenting. And when I was doing only parenting, at a time when I don't know if I was the only parenting coach in the world, but there certainly wasn't a community. I know there are some programs that they educate parenting coaches. I don't know exactly what they do, but there's nothing quite like our program. But at the time that I was doing this, there was no program that I knew of. And I had a completely full to the top, over the top practice as soon as I was out of the gate, saying that I was available to help parents. Okay. That it's something that's so necessary that it kind of sells itself. And so you don't need to become anything more. If you like what you're doing in parenting, you can become an expert parenting coach and rest happily there for the rest of your career. But I'm just saying it's also something that might inspire you to branch out in different ways, and it's a good, very solid base for other kinds of things. Um, so we have, like within parenting itself, enough challenge, growth, satisfaction, opportunity, and fulfillment to last a lifetime, but we might even want to do other things too. I'm going to pause there again because I don't want to talk too much over you for any questions and comments that you have.
Yes, we actually had a question. Why would someone choose a coach over a therapist who also studied parenting?
Um, that's a quite interesting question. Like if you um, are already with a therapist because maybe you're working on your personal issues for yourself, and your therapist is also a parenting trained CPC, a certified parenting coach. This means that your therapist can help you also with the parenting piece. But a therapist who's not a trained CPC, Radcliffe or otherwise, um, actually has no training in parenting. So some people will ask their child psychologist or their pediatrician or their regular psychologist or their psychotherapist for advice in addressing parenting problems. And we have to be aware that unless this person has taken this training or some very similar training, that person is completely unqualified to help, actually. They're just going to say what they think, maybe based on a parenting book they read or based on raising their own kids or something. Where are they getting their information from? I can tell you that university does, we call it degrees, don't offer a 9-month parenting piece. They don't. It's like, I don't know if they offer anything. So this is like going to a regular person who becomes a psychotherapist after, let's say, a year-long training, and they have no specific training in marriage counseling, but you're talking to them and you want marriage advice or you want marriage counseling. And the person, because they're a social worker or they're a mental health counselor or they're a licensed psychologist, they go and give you marriage counseling. No training. Okay. I would say, a big good luck because, marriage counseling requires a lot of training. What the field hasn't quite acknowledged yet is so does parenting. Okay. There's a lot that goes into understanding parenting. And so why would a person go to a therapist? Probably if they were at a therapist. Otherwise, what they're just looking for is a certified parenting coach. Okay. So because if it turns out that the parent needs therapy, or the child needs therapy, like it's psychotherapy for themselves, or behavioral therapy for the child, that would be something that we would look for after the parenting coach did not make progress. But using the techniques that I'm going to teach you, you will find that, I don't know, some huge percentage, like huge, 95% or something of the people who come to you will be helped by what you have to offer. Won't need anything else. Occasionally, you will make a referral to somebody for clinical reasons because the child, let's say, has some advanced case of something that you are not qualified to treat. Okay, so, um, but yeah, it would be like the child has some severe mental health disorder or something. You're not going to help him with his bipolar disorder. You're going to send him to a psychiatrist. So, but in the course, we help you to identify who is a client and who is not qualified to be a client, and who you would need to refer on and when and why. But most people with parenting problems need a certified parenting coach. Now, people who are professionals in the mental health field, like what do you call it? Psychologists and psychiatrists and pediatricians and psychotherapists and mental health counselors and social workers. And I don't know if I left out anybody, but any related profession. Um, Such people may want to specialize in parenting, and they may become a certified parenting coach. So until they take that training, they have no particular qualifications to help you with. But once they take the training, they can go the other way. Remember how I said we could go from being a parenting coach to a therapist? We can also go from being a therapist to a parenting coach. And that's also a great direction to go in because it's like a specialty. Perhaps somebody was a therapist and got tired of listening to depressed people all day. Maybe they got depressed by it or something. And a lot of therapists suffer from that burnout syndrome. And maybe they wanted something more uplifting, more concrete, more practical, a sure way to help people, and they wanted to add this on. Or maybe they just want to include it because they are family counselors and they want to do the marriage piece, which they've received training for, the individual emotional piece, which they've received training for, the trauma piece, which they've received training for, and the parenting piece in order to be the most competent mental health professional that they can be. So without the parenting piece, nobody should really be talking about parenting, whatever else, whatever license they have. Okay. Was there any other question?
Great, thank you. Yes, if I'm a life coach, will my life coach training conflict with this training?
That's a great question too. I'm thinking about it. You know, I'll just say you will know better than I because you're already licensed or registered as a life coach. But if you've been taught not to give answers, then your parenting practice will look different than your life coaching practice. Because, like I said, we're more like an accountant, a lawyer, a dentist, a doctor who will be doing something to solve the problem rather than helping people to search inside themselves for answers. So even if a person went to a therapist and said, I feel, very worried about my kids, um, that could be what we call an intrapsychic issue, that the person is a worrier and needs help with worry, and the psychotherapist is the right person to help them. So as a life coach, you maybe have a niche or you have something in general, people come to you with problems and you help them find themselves. But it's, I don't know if this is the right metaphor, but let's say a kid says, I feel hungry. Okay. Um, the parent should say, okay, well, what would you like to eat? And then, we have some fruit here, some vegetables here, and some, cheese and crackers here. Do you want one of these? Like, the kid is hungry. There's a practical solution. We're not going to start discussing with the child, how does that feel? Where is the hunger in your body? Like, how long have you felt this way? What do you do to comfort yourself? It's not that kind of question. It's like, I need some food. Where is it? Okay. So many things that are going on in parenting actually need direct intervention. It's not a feeling I have that my child doesn't like me or get along with me or a child doesn't listen. It's an experience that a child is calling me names and telling me he hates me or the child is refusing to acknowledge, the requests I'm making or whatever. And there are parenting interventions that we can help deal with it. So I kind of think that what might happen with you as a life coach is that sometimes you'll be doing life coaching and sometimes you'll be doing parent coaching, which are not fighting each other. They're just different for different questions that your clients are going to bring to you. So, yeah, I think it's like that. I think also a person who's a psychotherapist or a psychologist, let's say, like myself, when somebody comes with a parenting question, I'm a parenting coach. Like I can help them with their personal traumas and their anxieties and their moods and stress management, but that's not what they're asking. They want to know how to get the kid to bed. So in that moment, I am a parenting coach helping them with that. And I don't see it as any kind of conflict. I can bring to bear everything I know about human psychology to help answer that question, along with parenting strategies and techniques. I don't know if I answered your question, but I hope so a little bit.
Yes, thank you so much. I think we're ready to move forward.
Okay. Um, yeah, so I'm going to just take a few minutes to look at why is this career so great? It's like, why is it so fulfilling and pleasurable to work in? So one thing I've mentioned already is that in the other fields of psychology, psychotherapy, counseling, social work, and all this stuff, the private practitioner or the counseling person, not doesn't have to be a private practitioner, is confronted often with the most serious struggles and deep pain of human existence, whereas parenting coaches are, for the most part, spared that deep dive into very dark waters. It's not that kind of thing. Like you don't feel depressed after a day of helping people with parenting problems. You feel energized because you actually can help them, and that help makes you feel, um, I guess fulfilled is the word, but like it puts the meaning into the meaningful work. Like you're doing something, not just listening and supporting, although listening and supporting people through their dark times is very meaningful also. Sometimes we just feel so helpless. Okay, we're like this is not a career that makes you feel helpless. It makes you feel helpful. So it doesn't really lead to burnout. It doesn't have that. And it's very mentally stimulating. There are problems to be solved. And even although a lot of the problems sound the same, like my kid doesn't listen, let's say. Okay. But every couple, every parent who comes in with that kid is different. And the kid, the way he's not listening is different. And what the parent knows and doesn't know is different. It's always like what piece will insert here? What does this parent need to know? Like, I don't know. I just find it like um, how to approach each client, even with similar questions. It's always very intellectually stimulating and interesting. Um, yeah, the we do protect ourselves from overstepping our bounds, which again stops us from being ineffective. It stops us from being destructive, heaven forbid. It stops us from being helpless. We know what we can do as a certified parenting coach. It's very packaged. And we know what we can't do. We don't want to step over this line. As a result, we are competent in our areas of competency. And that makes us feel good. Okay, like good. I know this is beyond me. You need to see, this kind of doctor instead. And this is what I do, and this is what I do well. So it gives you that confident position. Although, again, we said if you do like the deeper, darker end of the pool, you can certainly expand your skill set, get more licensing and academic preparation and everything that you want if you want to go there. Um, so I'm just looking at my notes here. Okay. So we know that we're going to be a valuable resource and not necessarily just to one-on-one clients, but to people all over the world. And this can be extremely fulfilling, especially in today's world. I mean, again, when I started out, I had the privilege of writing books, which I say privilege because at that time you had to have a publisher also. You couldn't just get on Amazon and put it out there if you wanted to. Although now any of you can do that. You can put out your books and reach people all over the world. Between the computer, the social media, the podcast, the expansion of information, we can all get out there and help so many people. Whereas that wasn't always the case. Sometimes it had to be your little community. But in your little community, perhaps it's your school or it's your shul or your just your circle of where you live in your city. Maybe, even if that was the only group, that's a lot of people there. So we have the ability to be impactful and to know that. And that also provides not the feeling of, oh, I'm famous, not that feeling. It's the feeling of, look at how many people I can reach. Look at how many people I can help. Look what a service I could provide. That makes people feel pretty good, okay? Like it's like you get up every day and you know what to do in this life and in this world. So it's really good. Um, and it's a career that offers not just stimulation in the moment, but as I've kind of been hinting at, There's lots of endless learning to do. We will never be finished learning. Our parenting tool expertise, our toolkit will be continuously expanding it in order to keep up with everything and go forward. We have to always know what are the other experts saying? How do we feel about that? We need to um, not isolate ourselves, but find out what are parents being told? How is this working? What's the new research in psychology telling us about human behavior, about what works and what doesn't work? For people who like to read, learn, grow, take courses, um, there's endless development, which is interesting and it's exciting and it can keep you at the cutting edge. And there's so many things. If you like that, if you like to learn, there's so many things to keep you vibrant and kind of youthful and alive in this career. It's not like a dead end thing, like, yeah, I learned how to tell people to get their kids to bed. Now, if you want it to be smaller, it can stay as small as you want to. And it may be that small is the right size for where you are right now. In fact, I just want to specialize, let's say, in helping people with their kids' bedtime problems. I just want to do that. Or I want to help them with their kids' picky eating problems. I just want to do that. Okay. So you can make it very, very narrow and still expand your knowledge within that narrow scope, or keep it to what you want to keep it to, because maybe right now you have 10 of your own kids, the youngest one was born last month, and you don't want to do anything right now. But in 15, 20 years, maybe then you want to take off and go, to a different area, expand it even more, and do something different. Like it's flexible with you. So I think that that is another really wonderful thing about it. It's extremely flexible and can grow with you in your lifestyle. Like if you're, like I said, busy with your own family right now, maybe you want to work 1 hour a week. Okay, you can in this profession. And in that hour, you can make the amount of money that some people make from working, all day, 4 days or 5 days a week, because it is a profession. And you take yourself seriously. You're charging a professional fee for a truly professional service, and that's how we approach it in the Radcliffe certification program. It's a profession. So, and people will value you because when you provide real value, your professional fee will be paid happily by people. Okay. It's just when people charge a lot of money for something that isn't there. It's like, people charging, I don't know, just a lot, we'll say a lot of money for a service that doesn't provide value. Then it's hard to build a practice with that because they don't tell their friends, oh, go here because you could also waste all your money there, right? But what happens is people who get real value, yes, they do tell their friends, go here because this little, visit that you have, 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 of these visits, whatever, will change your life for the next, 20, 30, 50 years. It's so worth it, right? So when you are providing a service that's of a value, you can be professionally remunerated for it. And that gives you more flexibility in how many hours you want to work, which can be very important as we're going along. And it can give you again, the confidence and the happiness that comes from knowing you are offering a service that is valuable, okay? That you're really doing something, that people appreciate your expertise and benefit from your expertise. Even if service was free, people don't have time to waste getting themselves, to you in person, certainly. And even if they have to come on Zoom and cut an hour out of their day, or, sit in their car and talk to you, as so many people do these days, or get on the phone with you, however they're going to connect with you, um, even a free hour will not build up your practice when you're not offering service. That's a value. You're not helping them. People don't have an hour to waste with you. But the thing is, when you're a Radcliffe certified parenting coach, you're not wasting anybody's time. You're giving them what will help them. And that is something that's very, very gratifying. So, yeah, so you'll be able to help quickly, efficiently, and powerfully. And that'll be actually your greatest marketing tool. Success, okay? Success in helping what people are coming for. And your word of mouth appeal will build your practice. So while, we do maybe want to do some marketing. Some of us are very shy, and it's going to be word of mouth marketing. You helped somebody, they told their friend came to you and they told their friend, and just, after a while, everybody's friends are coming to you. It can just work like that. It's not. But on the other hand, if you want to go big, if you like to go big, if your personality is big, if you want to get out there and get on the stage and, talk to lots and lots of people or get your podcast up and running, if you enjoy it, if you're extroverted, if you have, the shyness is not your deal, then, this career is like wide open for you. It will fit your schedule and your personality and your pocketbook. Okay. So yeah, this is sometimes why I've had many life coaches come to me over the years in frustration that they're not building their practice. They can't get it off the ground. They know they can help people, but they can't get enough people to come to them to, make a real business out of it so that they can pay their rent and their living expenses. Many, many people have come to me over the years. Now, I guess there's different kinds of training in life coaches. I'm just saying I've had this experience as a therapist. And I think that one of the problems there is that they charge a professional fee, but it's not worth it to people because the value that the person is not necessarily feeling that they're getting what they are willing to pay for a long time. You can tell me that. I know I just spoke to a life coach here, so I'm not sure how the life coaching is going, whether you've had that experience or not. But very often you won't have that experience in parent coaching. That's what I'm saying, because you've really got something that sells itself and is of value. Now, nobody is, an expert upon graduation. But when you graduate, you have enough to be helpful right away, enough to be helpful to get people to talk about coming to and so on. And obviously, everything we do gets better with experience. So the more people we meet, the more we learn, the more books we read, the more time we have to study, the more courses we take, everything adds to us. And, you know, true confessions here. I'm a person who likes to keep like my brain open and I keep reading and learning all the way through my life. I'm like I said, 50 years into it, I'm taking all the courses. Every time there's a course out, I use, a psychology course, a mental health course, a family relationship course, I'm taking it. Um, because I don't think we get to a point, we certainly haven't gotten to that point in psychology where we know all the answers to every problem. So just getting one new point, one new skill, one new way to look at a problem, I think that's important. And I think that makes us better practitioners. But like I said, over the course of your lifetime, there will be time for all of that. And if we have a career where we're not qualified and our training does not prepare us, then being an ineffective helper leads not only to financial distress, but emotional distress too. That's that burnout I keep talking about, the dissatisfaction, the frustration, the dashed dreams. This course costs money also, and we want you to know that that money will be reimbursed successfully in your work. That we're not just here like, oh, we'll take your money and teach you a bunch of nothing and whatever. That's not it. You're going to learn a bunch of something. Now, some people take this training not to become professional, certified parenting coaches. They just want to become more expert in their own little realm, that is within their family or within their little community, just to help people for free or on a volunteer basis or something, or to help their friends and relatives, or just to help themselves. Okay, so there is a way to take this training for that as well. And a person might take the training for that now and then later on decide, you know what, I know a lot of stuff. I could probably help other people, even get paid for it. I'm doing it all for free. Maybe at this new stage in my life where marrying off the kids, the bills are paying, getting up there. Maybe I want to make money at this. And they can become certified later on. Once you have the basic training, you can do the part of the course that is necessary for certification also. So yeah, that's let me see if I missed anything here. Oh, they said there's something
Sarah
called.
Chana, we do have some questions if you're ready.
Sure, sure, sure.
Okay, perfect. I sometimes worry that I need to be the perfect parent in order to be a PCP. Obviously, I've been working at being the best parent I can be, but it's a long process. Will this impede getting clients when people around you may judge your competence as a PCP based on how your kids come out?
One thing we're going to learn as a CPC is that there is no link between your parenting competence and how your kids turn out. That'll be a surprise to everybody, but that's, like when you know what to do in parenting, that makes you a good parent, okay? However, what makes a child a good kid, so to speak, I'm going to put like, quotations, something that other people judge to be successful. Um, there's much more that goes into that. There's so much. Three-quarters of it is the child's genetic makeup that you're working with, okay? And then there's the child's free will, the child's place in the family, the sibling birth order, the other parent, the school, the community, the traumas that the child, goes through. The parents have a small but important role, and they want to do the best they can with that. Now, when people look at your disturbed kid, let's say, and say, you're a parenting coach, like, what happens here is if you are not kind of killing your disturbed kid, okay, so your kid is running around the supermarket, wreaking havoc, being embarrassing, spilling things over, hurting other people's children, a nightmare of a kid. The interesting thing is people actually do not judge you so much by your kid as the way you react to your kid. So if you are very like weak and you go like, oh Josh, come to mommy, like whatever. And people look at you and go like, okay, Josh is crazy. You're inept. I don't want to go to you as a parenting coach. They might look at you, but when you come up to Josh, and he's running around and you approach him and you bend down and you look at him and you whisper something in his ear, and then you take his hand and you move him off. Everybody stands in awe. Like, how did you do that? I would have destroyed that kid. I would have been screaming at him. I would have made mush out of him. So the kind of thing you learn in the course is how to do good parenting, not how to have good kids. And people will actually recognize that. So it's a draw. We cannot control human beings. And when we do good parenting, normally our parenting day, which is our day for about 20, 30, or 40 years, depending on how many children we have, our parenting day is so much more pleasurable, so much more loving, healthy, positive. And what happens at the end of those 20, 30, 40 years as all the children move out into their lives, different things will happen. If you have a large family, a lot of different things will happen, okay? Even if you have one kid, a lot of different things can happen. But what good parenting does is it enables the daily life not to be chaotic, destructive, and helps the parent not be the primary reason why the child has the difficulties that the child has. Hashem is the primary reason. It gives the child his traumas, his genes, his challenges, whatever it is. But you don't want, as a parent, to say, yeah, I yelled at him and I smacked him around for 20 years. So, I guess that's why we don't have a relationship today and why he has so many mental health problems, like, which by the way, wouldn't be, it's not that straight. Even if you're a horrible parent, there's people who have horrible parents who turn out quite well. So, but anyways, you don't want to think that you contributed to anything. You want to do the best you can with your little corner of that. So now, if you're yelling at your kids in public, probably people will not look to you as a model of who you should go to. If you're yelling at them and smacking them around in the park, probably not. But you will learn techniques within the parenting course that will help you to have a better choice of interventions than that. So, that's it. Now, none of us are perfect. We all have our days and our moods and our stresses and our own personal traumas. So we don't have to be perfect to do a good job of parenting. But we do have to know what that good job would look like and, do it most of the time. So despite whatever's wrong with us. So anyways, hope that answered your question.
Thank you so much. Next question. There are so many neurodiverse kids out there with autistic traits, perhaps, and they would need a different approach from the regular parenting. Is this something that would be covered in the training?
Yes, neurodiverse of every kind. You're right. We call them neurodiverse now. They were always there before too, but we didn't have all the labels. And parents, uh, they come in with all the labels now. Like they're very psychologically tuned in. They're reading the books. They know all the lingo, the psychobabble. They know about their emotionally dysregulated kid. Then they talk about it a certain way. That's kind of why we have to know what's being put out there, so that we can join with parents where they're at and then take them to where we want to go. But yeah, the people who come to you, for the most part, will have a challenging child because more average children, in their makeup, in their genetic makeup, they can tolerate the imperfections of the average parent without that much stress and strain. But you can have an excellent parent and a child who give anybody a run for their money. And really, in a parenting practice, you will always be dealing with kids who are harder for whatever reason. Okay. Now, once in a while, there'll be kids who we don't think there's anything with the kids. It's just that the parents really don't know what they're doing, and they haven't read all the books, and they're not, into the education of it. They're just doing what they learned when they grew up, which may not be enough. And all they need is some parent education. So there is that population too. But the bulk of your work will be with kids who require um, some specialized knowledge on the parenting coach's part.
Okay, great. Thank you. Is the certification recognized around the world? We're actually very lucky to have people joining in from all over the world. So that was a question that came up.
So I said, this is a new field which is not certified anywhere in the world. Okay. So if, as a parenting coach, you want to set up recognition in your part of the world, you might want to get political about this later. And, there are people who bring forth, I know that where I live, the ABA designation has been merged with our psychological college. But ABA didn't used to be. Some people brought it forward and said, we want this to be um, regulated so that not everybody can just call themselves an ABA person. So regulation produces standards in education. And I think that the course that I've designed for you uh, will be able to meet anybody's standards if anybody one day makes this a regulated profession. Right now, it's not regulated, and I would suggest it's a good time to get into it before they require you to have, like, you could do this without having a Bachelor of Education. Certainly, you don't need a Bachelor of Education in psychology. If you happen to have a Bachelor of Education in psychology, it certainly won't hurt you. It'll help you. If you have a master's degree in any of the professions, social work, psychology, whatever, it will certainly help you because you study, you've got some background there. But you could do this fresh out of high school or a no school, because it really is standalone right now. So if it ever becomes regulated, hopefully you would be grandparented, as they say, into the profession from having practiced it for several years, many years or something, by the time this becomes regulated. Um, the fact that it's not regulated does not mean that you're not liable. Like, for example, where I practice, there's laws that apply to people, whether they're regulated or not regulated. If you put a shingle out saying, I'm helping people, well, people can sue you for bad services. Now, the way I've designed this course, and you'll see it right from the beginning, is with this in mind so that you will know how to practice without getting into any messes whatsoever. Okay. It's a protective kind of practice. And the reason I did that is because when I started, there was no regulated body for people in the helping professions who weren't licensed psychologists. And I did not start as a licensed psychologist. Okay. So but I knew the laws where you can be held to account the same way that a regulated professional could be held accountable. So I practiced and I set up this course, which you'll see right from the beginning, to account for these laws, to be protective so that you know how far to go, how far not to go, what to say and what you can't say, and you will never get into any trouble. I've had that in mind from the beginning of my career. Okay, so as long as you follow those, those things and don't get ahead of yourself and start trying to cure things that you have no training for. So this course is very clear on what you have training for and what you don't have training for. So if you're not already a licensed mental health professional, you will have the training for parent education. So anybody can do this right now. This is not even as nobody knows about this profession, okay? But it is so necessary that when you offer your services to, let's say, to work in a clinic that has a variety of mental health services, to set up there in a private practice where there's, let's say, social workers, psychotherapists, marriage counselors, chiropractors, dietitians, whatever it is. I used to work in a place like that myself, and I was the parenting and educator. But like I said, I had a full practice of people who had parenting questions, like just from existing. And I'm sure that you can do this as well. Um, so because the profession is needed, people have parenting questions. So we're not waiting for somebody else. It'll actually be one of you guys one day who brings this to the level of professional regulation if you want to. And the reason for doing it is so that your next door neighbor, who didn't take any courses whatsoever, doesn't just read one book and say, okay, I'm a parenting educator too. That's what regulation does. Regulation makes sure that the person is actually trained. And the training you're getting is very, very organized, very clear, drawn on professional materials, all research-based, evidence-based research, as they like to say. And this is because of the background I'm bringing to it. So, yeah, one of you guys will do it. I think, unless I have some time on my hands, and I don't know. But anyways, we're starting
Thank
here.
you. Um, Great. There are some more questions coming in, and then I do also want to get to the details of the course because I see a lot of people asking for more details. So let me just ask these last couple of questions, and then we'll give some more details about the course itself, give you a chance to grab your spot because spots are limited. And then, of course, we will come back and continue to ask questions. And as I mentioned, we will have somebody from our first cohort on the line to talk about her experiences and answer any questions while she's here. So just really quick, Sarah Chana, do CPCs need supervision for their practice like therapists do?
Will they need it? You're asking?
Mm-hmm.
They can have it because we're providing it. We're providing that option, and we don't need anything because we're not regulated. Nobody's going to come and tell us what we need. Will it help us? At 1000%. Okay, it's fantastic to have it, and we are providing it. People can also do just as they can in psychotherapy, peer-to-peer supervision. So usually in psychotherapy, when you become a psychotherapist, you organize a group of your own colleagues and friends or people who you work with in whatever work environment you're in. And you just help each other by presenting cases. In addition to that, in order to get your um, final certification as a licensed therapist, you're required to have supervision by a professional supervisor. So we are not required here because we're not regulated in that sense. However, we're offering everything that a professional person would access, including supervision that is at the professional level. So, yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And do you reference Torah Hashkafa in the training itself?
Yeah, it's a funny thing. Like, I can't really separate me from Torah Hashkafa since I'm a Torah, observant Jew. It's kind of like I forget to mention it even because it's like the air we breathe. So I know that when I'm working, and my clients are sometimes observant Jews, sometimes they're Jews that are not observant, sometimes they're not Jews. They come from various kinds of religious backgrounds, no religious background, very secular, whatever. But I present myself to them straight out open that this is, coming from the Torah perspective that I believe, so like we weave it into the course kind of naturally because it just fits there. Like there's nothing in this course that would not fit there. It can't be like this. This material I wrote originally I wrote this up as a frum book called The Delicate Balance. So I wrote a book on marriage called As a Kenegdo way, way back. And then this was the second book I wrote for a frum publisher. It was called The Delicate Balance, Love and Authority in Torah Parenting. That book became a secular book later called Raise Your Kids Without Raising Your Voice. Okay. So that But the Frum book had all the Torah sources in it and the Haskamas of the various rabbis and endorsements there. So that's kind of the history of it. There's nothing in our approach that is not Torah consistent and Torah friendly, absolutely. And I started from the Torah thing and moved to the secular thing with the support of my rabbis here because I wasn't even sure whether I should step out of the religious community to reach the world at large. And I was told that it's a huge mitzvah and so much needed. And so that's how I got to secular writing and, HarperCollins instead of, Feldheim or whatever. Targum Feldheim was the original publisher. So, yeah.
Okay, perfect. Is there anything else that you wanted to touch on, Sarah Chana, before we get to the course details?
I just wanted to say, yeah, I have just want to see, yeah, some rates at just a couple of little points here that, in terms of the pleasure in this work, we're laughing with parents, we're high-fiving with parents as they move from success to success. The work is fun and rewarding. And the benefits are both short-term, you're helping a family today, and long-term. You're preventing harm, you're preventing trauma, you're setting them off on the best course for a future of healthy relationships as much as possible. That, not everything's in our control, but as much as possible, you're setting them on that good path. You're helping people, on the community and world level, just like be a little healthier, a little bit better off. Even if you gave parents just a little shift in perspective from some magazine article that you decided to write. And this is the other thing. You may decide that you want to do writing or speaking, lecturing, workshops, or just private counseling, or, there's different ways in which to work. You may be hired by an institution to be their parenting person. You may have to sell that because they don't know there's such a thing right now, but you could sell it. Okay, I'm pretty sure you could. And or you may be, totally in that private practice that changes with the hours that you have available for it as you grow, very part-time, very full-time. You can support your family with this if you needed to support your family on your own. Um, so yeah, we're preventing trauma and harm. We're doing good. You're turning everything around sometimes in a household that was so much in pain. It's such a privilege to be able to accompany others on this most important part of life's journey, to provide them with not only support and encouragement, but actual direction and skills and know-how, but to be part of making such a significant difference in people's lives. Like, I think I've mentioned this elsewhere, but it's nice to get love letters all day long from people all over the world. It's gratifying, and there's a reason for it because you're really, really helping. So I think this is a fantastic career, and I think we can talk. You can explain to them now what's in the course, and whatever. You can also eventually train other professionals too. Those people who need help, like, whatever. There's a lot to do.
Amazing. I'm going to get to all the details of the course, but I just want to welcome Nechama. Thank you so much for being here. We're going to go ahead and open your microphone. We'd love for you to share your experiences. And if there are any questions from the audience, please feel free to put those into your chat box as well.
Hi. So I'm so excited just to be in the same room again with Sarah Chana. I miss our classes greatly. Just a little background. I did have a lot of experience working with parents. I was a pediatric occupational therapist for over 20 years, 18 of which I followed Sarah Chana religiously, reading every week's column and all her books. And 10 years prior, I had reached out to her. I don't know if she remembers this because I was hoping she would mentor me because I just wanted to make sure that I was giving over her stuff the most accurately and that I internalized it the right way. And so when this class opened up, it was a dream come true. I want to say that from the class, I learned everything on such a deeper level, and not saying that how I gave it over was wrong initially, but I've learned how to apply it and learned how to share. And I'll tell you, she also taught me, even though I thought I was pretty skilled in talking to parents, like I'll give an examples. From our group, I would, give her relevant questions that were coming up with me. And I remember one, like, to me, it was like such rocket science with a family. Like, I don't even know why they need me. Like, they're showing that meltdowns are always happening at this time of day. It's so clear that these rules aren't working for this family. And Sarah Chana taught me how to really talk to the parents. Like, it's not about good rules or bad rules, or for us to pass judgment on a family, but it's the type of rules or how many rules that they're giving to the children. And she like taught me how to talk to them where I wasn't like, to me, it was like, hello, people. Like, can't you see what's going on, right? But through Sarahana, I was able to do it in such a more skilled way and have more rapport with the family that they were more open to learning more strategies. Or the number one reason why this was so helpful for me is that people who I turned away, I would no longer turn away because now I feel skilled. And now also with this supervision that I signed up for ongoing, you know, knowing that I have access to her and knowing that like there's no one I have to turn away because I have that support and okay, people who I would turn away is people who I would feel need not coaching, but really need serious counseling. But within the coaching world, there is so much change we can do. And I feel so prepared to do it. Thanks to Sarah Chana.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah.
That is so wonderful. Thank you so much. I think some of the questions that were popping up the most are, you know, are you able to get your questions answered throughout the course when you have something specific? Did you find that was, you know, being addressed, whether it was through the forum or through the live classes? And again, we haven't even gone into all the details, but did you feel like you could really get your personalized questions addressed?
100%. I did get all my questions answered.
Amazing. Wonderful.
And I had a lot of questions. Hold on, I want to say that also. I had a lot of questions. So it's not like I only had 2 questions and I got my 2 questions answered. No, there were a lot of questions along the way. And I do feel that either they got answered on the forum or they got, or when we had our monthly classes, there was always time for the questions to get answered.
Fantastic. Let me see. I think there's more questions just coming in about the details. So I will get to the details. But if anyone has any other questions, thank you, Nechama, for being here. That was really wonderful that you could come on. If anyone has any specific questions.
Or anyone can email me, or I feel so bad somebody emailed me and I forgot to give them my phone number. I told them to call me at any time, but I just did answer them that. It was over the weekend. But feel free, and I would love to share this with anybody. Was probably one of the best things I ever did. So
oh, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much. If anyone does want to, you know, personally email or call, please just email us at jewishworkshops@jewishworkshops.com and we will pass on Nechama's information. I appreciate that. Thank you so much for being here.
You're welcome.
Okay, let me go ahead and get to some more details because I see people asking, how long is the course? What is included? Let me get to that. I will put it up right here for you. Okay, so over the next 9 months, we're going to be learning with Sarah Chana with weekly modules, starting with general principles of working with parents. In month 2, we're going to get to foundational parenting skills, which goes into month 3 and month 4. You'll learn all about the different rules. If you're familiar with Sarah Chana's teachings, we'll talk about the 80-20 rule, the 50-50 rule, the clear method, better behavior now approach, the 2 times rule. All of those will be covered in the foundational parenting skills. Then in month 5, we're going to start talking about mental health issues, identification, and interventions. This is where we'll probably talk a little bit more about the neurodiversion and things like ADHD, OCD, anxiety, mood disorders. In month 6, we'll talk a lot about raising teens. If you've been, again, in Sarah Chana's previous classes, you'll know that teens are like an animal all to its own. It's different than, you know, raising toddlers or adolescents. There are different rules and different ways to talk to teens. So you'll be learning a lot about that in month 6. Month 7, we'll talk about sibling issues, followed by marital challenges in parenting, and finally applied strategies for issues in parenting, behavioral interventions, personality conditions. Now, as I I mentioned, this course is unique to many that we offer because each week you will receive a new class in your membership area, giving you the opportunity to listen at your convenience and your own pace, rather than trying to schedule a specific day and time into your calendar. So each Monday, you'll get your brand new module to listen to, and you'll have the full week to listen, to re-listen, to take notes, to complete your homework. And then the following week, you'll get another one. There will be quizzes as well. Each module has a corresponding outline, so it'll help you stay on track as you listen and take your own notes. Plus, like I mentioned, short quizzes to make sure that you fully understand the material after each session. So many people shared in the past that their schedules are just so packed. So as opposed to making sure that they're able to attend on a specific day at a specific time, this will give you the opportunity to have all of these classes available 24/6 to watch, take notes, and practice, and all at a time that's comfortable for you. So Rachel, I see your question here, and I'm about to just touch on that right now. Rachel asked, what if I have a question after watching the module? If they're pre-recorded, how do I get those questions answered? So that's a great question. And again, come up before. So for all of our students, there will be a community forum to send in questions, create conversations, build dialogue with classmates, talk about the different things that you're learning in each module. And one of Sarah Chana's master trainers has graciously agreed to step in and moderate to make sure your questions are being answered in a timely fashion. So there will be a moderator on the forum, and then you'll also be able to have a lot of peer-to-peer dialogue with the other classmates. In addition to that, you'll also get to meet with Sarah Chana live every 4 weeks for a 2-hour Q&A and an implementation session. So just as a quick overview, you'll get 9 months of classes. Our first class is going to be delivered Monday, December 2nd. That's when we'll start. And then each Monday thereafter, you will receive a new module, plus one Thursday each month. You'll have a 2-hour Q&A and implementation session with Sarah Chana. Those will begin on January 2nd. So you'll have that first full month of learning. And then you'll also have your community forum where you can ask questions, as I mentioned, start a dialogue, talk to each other, and share different experiences as you're learning throughout the 9 months. And Sarah Chana, before I go on, can you just shed some light on what those practice sessions look like for people who are wondering, what are those 2-hour live sessions?
It depends on what the course, like what the students need for each one. However, we have breakout sessions in that 2-hour period is kind of 2.5 hours, or sometimes 3, depending on how much fun we're having there. But we'll have breakout sessions where you work with your fellow students to problem solve, or to have practice counseling sessions. There's different things we do in that breakout, but you're working with your peers to come up with thought processes about case presentations or actual practice with case studies. Okay, so that you're the therapist or you're the client and so on, you have those things. In addition, this is the time for you to ask me all the questions based on the lessons you've been receiving during those 4 weeks, all the thoughts, all the questions, all the clarifications that you need. I'm there to answer that. Plus, people have weekly assignments to really record their understanding of the class they watched. Okay, this is for 2 reasons. One, it is a certification program, so we need to know that you actually watched the course, and we do ask for a summary of what you got out of it, what questions came to you from it. We want you to work with that material and to know that you're processing it, that you received it, and that you're processing it. And I take time and go through everybody's homework. I look at everybody's homework, and the questions that come out of the homework are put in a document that will be made available for every student throughout and at the end of the course as well, so that you can see what other questions people have asked, maybe questions you didn't even think about, and my answers to those questions. So there'll be written answers to everybody's questions, as well as oral answers to everybody's questions, so that you're getting your questions answered, okay, which is so important here. Like they're really working with the material. So the live is to provide clarification. If I see that on a particular unit, everybody's homework is showing that they're not quite getting what I'm trying to get, whatever, then I'm going to dive into that deeper in the live. But it might be that everybody's quite clear, but they have questions that came out of it, in which case we'll be focusing on a question. So in that way, it varies a little bit, but it's very interactive. Okay, we're together on that.
Great. Thank you so much. I do see some more questions coming in. So again, let me just clarify. Each weekly module that you can listen to at your convenience is approximately 45 minutes to an hour each. Plus, then we'll have some time that it'll take you to do your homework and your quizzes. So again, Sarah Chana, approximately an hour for the module each week, and approximately, would you say, an hour for homework and quizzes? Is that the time commitment that you would say?
I'd say if you allow that, that would be great. It would be approximately an hour to watch the thing. And yes, it does, I would say half an hour and maybe 10 minutes for those little quizzes. They're short. So I think that second part is not necessarily an hour. It could be 35, 40 minutes for the work that you're doing on it. I think that, now if you like to pour into it and make sure you get it, then yeah, it could be an hour. It's not going to be 10 minutes because if I give you an hour of information that you're supposed to understand everything I said, and really every part of it is important. Like this is your chance to really understand what the material is all about. Now, there's enough repetition that comes up in different themes, and you have the course to watch and to rewatch. But the ideal would be that you actually feel qualified when you get to the end of the course, like, okay, I've got it. I heard it, I worked with it, I asked my questions on it, I've got it, I'm ready right now to go out and start working with my people. That would be ideal. If you cut back on that, you can always say, because sometimes you have to, because life is just what it is, okay? You can say, I'm going to go back. I know a lot of people who said this. I'm going to go back now and listen to each one of those modules again. Okay, you have them there forever, so you certainly can. But I would say allow a little bit of time to work it through so that you will be ready upon graduation to go work with your clients and not feel all like, oh, I don't know, I think that would be optimal if you could do it.
Perfect. Thank you. So it's approximately an hour and a half to 2 hour time commitment per week to, again, make sure that you're really understanding and fully integrating the materials. Plus those live sessions that are once a month for 2 hours, sometimes a little bit more. And during those classes, yes, they are recorded. So if you miss any of those, you will be able to, again, re-listen. But as part of the certification track, if you choose to become a certified parenting coach, you will need to attend 80% of those live classes live in order to obtain your certification. So again, just making sure that you are aware of that in the beginning. And oftentimes people do, like Sarah Chana said, choose to become certified even at a little bit of a later date. Make sure that they've, really been able to commit to the time that they need to, and that they're getting their homework done and their quizzes are done, and they're able to attend these live classes. Plus, in addition to all of this, you will be able to, as I mentioned, after completing the full course, you'll be able to take a certification test at the end of the 9-month series and become an actual certified Radcliffe parenting coach, which is extremely exciting. And thank God, everybody who was part of our cohort 1 who decided to take our certification track. We are really happy and excited for all of them who have all passed and become certified coaches. So God willing, you'll see those people up on our website shortly. Their certifications have been mailed out, so they are ready to continue on with their private practices if that's where they choose to go. But it was a very exciting thing. It shouldn't be something that gets you so nervous and you're not going to be prepared for. You'll absolutely be prepared to take this test and pass with flying colors. Plus, in addition to all of that, you'll also get a bonus to continue your education and professional development by gaining the full library of Jewish Workshops series with Sarah Chana Radcliffe. So that will include all of the parenting courses that we've offered through Jewish workshops that Sarah Chana has created specifically for us. And this will help you really get further knowledge on different parenting skills. Certainly, there are more niche topics that are involved. And again, as Sarah Chana mentioned earlier, the more that you learn as a parent yourself and the way that you handle your children, you'll be able to kind of give that information over to others as well. And this library has proven to be invaluable to our other cohort members. Plus, as somebody asked in the very beginning, if there is a class and any kind of guidance on how to get a business started or further your business, absolutely. There is a business mentorship class that will also happen after the 9 months is over. And you'll be able to join a live webinar with Sarah Chana and myself to guide you on how to launch your coaching business, open a private practice, or get more clients in an already existing practice. We'll go over all different strategies on how to, like I said, build and expand a private practice or other options, whether it's that you choose to become a teacher with your information in your community, working with your school system, putting on workshops, becoming a speaker. There are all different avenues, and we'll address all of those in the business class. So honestly, the benefits of becoming a Sarah Chana Radcliffe Academy certified parenting coach, you'll be the parent that you've always wanted to be. It's very meaningful work, and this will give you the opportunity to build a business that works for your lifestyle, for your time, for your schedule, and you'll be able to control your income much more so than you would be necessarily with other positions. So just to go over the overview one more time, it's 9 months of weekly recorded modules. You'll gain certification from Sarah Chana Radcliffe. You'll get the monthly live group mentorship sessions, plus the full library and the business training. And all of that will be for your special price just today because you joined. $3,997 if you choose the non-certification track. That's an opportunity for you to still gain all of the information. You'll get your weekly modules, the outlines, quizzes, and homework. You'll still be part of Sarah Chana's community forum and a monthly live Q&A. The Q&A sessions, or you can choose to be a platinum member, which will get you the certification as well. And that includes the certification, that includes the bonus library, and it includes the business mentorship for just $5,997. And again, as I mentioned, those prices are special right now for people who are attending the open house today. I'm going to go ahead and share the link with you so that you can grab your spot. But I did want to just mention one more exciting bonus. I said if you stick with us, you will get bonuses and you will get discounts. So here's one more exciting bonus. The first 15 people today who are on the line with us right now, who secure your spots, you will get an exclusive 1-hour session before the course even starts, which is a very exciting pre-course meet and greet Zoom session with Sarah Chana to forge a more personal connection where you'll be able to share your interests, your mission statements, your questions, and it'll all help personalize the course just for you. So you'll get to know more of the attendees. And again, you'll get to have more one-on-one time with Sarah Chana in that meet and greet. So that is for the first 15 people who are joining right now. Let me get your link in the box for you. It's www.jewishworkshops.com /SCR Academy. And I'm actually going to ask Hannah if you can put that into the chat box for me. That would be great to make sure that everybody can see it. You can actually just open another tab right now on your browser and make sure you grab your spot now. It's jewishworkshops.com /SCR Academy if you are on the phone. Otherwise, you can click on this link that Hannah just put into the chat box. Thank you so much. Excuse me. And grab your spot right now. And as People are signing up. I would love it if you could come back and tell me that you grabbed your spot and that you are in. Just write your first name or your initials and the words "I'm in." I would love to be able to welcome you. And it'll also give me an idea of how many spots are left just to make sure where we're at with our top 15. So when you're already in, just come on back and oh my gosh, yes, I'm in, Randy. Yay! Thank you and welcome. Oh, that is so exciting to see. Randy, I remember speaking to you years ago when we first, I think it was one of our first years of Jewish workshops. So I love having you here as a Sarah Chana Academy member. Welcome, welcome. Please come on in and let me know. Yes, there are payment plan options available. I'm sorry that I did not mention that earlier. When you go and you click on the link, you'll see those payment plan options. You can find one that best fits your needs. And if you have any further questions about payment plans or specifically about how to register, if you're having any difficulty, if you need to put it on a different kind of credit card or whatever the case may be, any payment options or payment questions, please just put your name and your telephone number right here in the chat box. Nobody can see it except for Hannah, who's here from Jewish Workshops, and Sephora, thank you for being here. We're the only ones that can see it on our side, and that way we'll be able to give you a call and help you register over the phone. We'll make sure that you get your spot as long as your name and telephone number are in here before we close up for today. So Sarah Chana, let me get to some of these other questions. Sorry. Let me see where is the business mentorship included in the fee? Yes, that is a special bonus for our platinum track. That is included along with the resource library and the actual certification. That's all included in the platinum package. Sarah Chana, so what does it mean to be a certified Sarah Chana Radcliffe coach? What will I get? Sorry. Oh, do I need to have, if I'm already a professional in the helping field, do I need the actual certificate? Is that going to benefit me any differently?
Yes, because I'm just going to see if I can move let me just close this chat box and just see. First of all, the resource library that is offered only with the certification program will take you, let's put it this way, I'll give you an example, okay? You saw that there's 9 modules, and each one, let's say the module's on teens, okay? So there's 4 classes on teens. But there's, in the resource library, I think a 12-part course on teens, right? So every course that is in the main body of our program is expanded many times over by the material that is in the resource library. And they're just, if I had to look, if there's 5 years of material in the resource library, it is not being given to you in the 9-month course because 5 years doesn't fit into 9 months. However, if you were to have that resource library, obviously you would know so much more and be so much more competent, which is part of the certification program. So coming out of the non-certification program, you will have the frame of reference, the theory, the basic necessary skills and the approach, and you'll be very good for yourself and your family and your friends. But to help other people, you want that extra information, which has been developed over many years with a great deal of depth, okay, to be a professional. So that would be one thing. Plus, the business mentorship is a little bit special, but I mean, I suppose you could get that somewhere else. And if maybe you already have a private practice, I don't know if that's meaningful to you, but I would say that that resource library alone is, it's not the financial value, it's what's in that resource library that will take you from okay to tremendously professional in the amount of knowledge and understanding you have of of all of the material. Also, I do think that when you say you are a certified parenting coach, let's say you get a position somewhere with somebody, not private practice, or even I'll differentiate for you, okay? If you want to get a position somewhere, to say I am a certified parenting coach, meaning I took a course, I had to prove that I knew the material in the course. I passed the requirements of the course, and I received certification. Therefore, you can trust me to hire me because I have proven that, and it says here on my certification documents, I have proven that I know what I'm doing, which is not the same as I took a self-paced learning program, or I read some books, or I took some webinar courses. I'm a parenting coach. I am because I say so. It's like it's harder to impress other people to hire you or to work with you. So like this is what I said about the next door neighbor who took a weekend course. She went to a lecture, then hung up a shingle, and she says she's a parenting coach. Okay. Is she a certified parenting coach? What kind of background does she have? Like, even to get private clients, like, don't you want to know that you have proven expertise, not just that you think you're okay, you think you know the material, but that somebody else knows that you know the material? I don't know. Like your next door neighbor, maybe they read some dentist books and thinks they can drill your teeth also, but wouldn't you like to know they passed their exams? I think there's a big difference in somebody who's certified and somebody who's just saying, I know stuff, I can help you with it. Okay. Like if you're not charging, that's fine. But if you want to charge significant amount of money for your expertise, go the extra mile and prove that you know the material. Okay. That's what I would say.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Mm.
Would you say being a parenting coach, is it more about knowledge than empathy and validation as opposed to therapists?
No, therapists are all about empathy and validation, whatever it is. It's a skill set. Like when you go to therapy, let's say to work on trauma, the therapist has the skill set to help you go deep inside yourself and rewire your neural networks and so on. The therapist has that skill set, but does not have to teach it to you. Okay, so does not have to give you that skill set to take home and do your own therapy at home. Although they might teach you how to meditate, maybe you will meditate at home or something. But in general, it's the therapist who has the skill set, not the client. In parent coaching, you have a skill set that you must pass on to the parents because that is the whole job there. The parents have to know how to do the skills. Okay. You have to know the skills that they have to do. You have to know when to apply them, how to apply them, and you have to teach the parents when to apply them, how to apply them, and ensure that the parents can and are applying them. It's a different thing altogether. Empathy has nothing to do with this. I mean, other than you want to be sympathetic to the parents that, this is hard. It's frustrating. Of course, their child is driving them bonkers and you understand it, but soon when you use these tools, you're going to find that it gets a lot easier. And you can assure parents it will, because when they use the tools, it will get a lot easier. But it's not mostly about emotional support. It's about know-how. Okay. And it's really completely different. It's not like I said, it's not like therapy. It's not like life coaching. It's not like anything. Okay. It's like it's parent education. And I call it coaching because that's what it is. You have to know what it is. You have to teach the parents to do it.
Wonderful. Thank you. I just want to go ahead and welcome two more members. Welcome Elisheva and welcome Khani. Great to have you. We're looking forward to having you in the Academy. I just want to remind everyone, once you're signed in and registered, please come on back and let me know. I'd love to be able to welcome you. And again, it looks like those first 15 spots are chipping away. So go to jewishworkshops.com/SCR Academy to grab your spot now. Of course, if you do have questions or need help registering, please just come back to the chat box and put your name and your telephone number so that we can make sure to give you a call and help you register as soon as the webinar is over. Sarah Chana, I don't know if you have the answer to this, but maybe you've spoken to some of our past cohorts. What's the return on the investment? How do I know that I'll actually make my money back and that it'll help me open and run a successful practice once I'm completed?
I would say it's about the same as, let's say you had gone for 12, 15 years of so I'm mocking myself here. This is how long it takes to become a psychologist in Ontario. Okay, a long time. And then you want to know, after paying for all that schooling and all that apprenticing, and you had to pay your supervisor for many years, all this stuff, is there a return on investment? Yes, over the course of your career, there's a return on investment. there is some investment here, but it's nothing like the investment that most people take a risk on. How do I know when I'm a lawyer that I'll make a lot of money? Some lawyers do and some don't, right? It depends on them and their business skill and their aptitude. There are people who take trainings and things, and um, they don't know I don't know, they don't end up making money. But that's not, if you have a real profession, for example, like a lawyer, chances are you'll make some money, okay? But if you to be a super duper earner, that's because you have a motivation and a skill set and a whole plan on how to make money. So if you are motivated to make money with this particular designation, like in other words, you want to support your family with it. I have supported my family with it for all these years, okay, for decades. So it's not something that somebody can't do or that somebody has to be something very special to do. It's that if you need to do it, okay, you need to eat, and then you'll be more motivated to find a way to use the skill set you have and to get paid for doing so. You have to see yourself as a professional with something to offer, and you develop it. Now we'll get you started in the business mentorship on how to take what you have and get it out there. Okay. But it's bottom line up to you. So there's no guarantee that you will or won't. Some people go like, yeah, I don't know. I'm so insecure. You have to want to make the money at it. Okay. But you will have what you need. If you decide you're going to make money at it, you will have what you need to make money from it. Okay. So it's really whether you carry it forward.
Amazing. Thank you so much. As we are getting ready to wrap up here, if there are any more questions, please come on back and let us know. Sarah Chana and I will be here for just a little bit longer. So I think it looks like we actually covered all of the questions, but if you have any that you're still sitting on, please come on back. And Sarah Chana, I am going to turn it back to you. I know that we always kind of have some people who are on the fence. Is this the right place for me? Is this the right program for me? I think that we've touched a lot on, what people can do with this career and how important it is. If somebody's still on the fence, what can we say at this point to maybe help them make that decision? I know it's a big decision. It's certainly a financial decision and a time commitment, of course. But at the end of the day, we have been very privileged to see so many success stories. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it back over to you for that one.
Mm-hmm. I think that sometimes what people are hesitating about is that what you just said, that it's a big investment of money and of time. And I think I've mentioned this here before, but the idea that if, investing in ourselves has to come first, right? That is, we have to kind of have this belief in ourselves that we can make a difference. We want to make a difference. We're as good as anybody out there who could make this difference. And we have that, like, there's this belief, this motivation that there could be no better work. I tell you this, there could be no more flexible career, no more satisfying career, no more adjusted to yourself and what you want kind of career than this one. Okay. Like, as careers go, I don't know what could be better. And if whatever your talents are, whatever your interests are, they can be steered into this. Is there something that you could do cheaper for like $1,000 and have the career of your dreams? I don't know what it is. Is there something that you could do for less time? Like, a lot of professional careers take years. Okay. And I said, like, I was laughing at myself, like, decades, to become whatever you want to become. Like this, I don't think there's anything faster. I don't think there's anything cheaper. Okay. So the real question is, are you ready to begin your career? And if you start with this one, you can take your sweet time with this. Okay. I did this when I had little kids, and I was invited to speak for organizations all over the world. I would take my little babies with me. Okay. I'd say, yeah, well, you have to pay for me, and you have to, accept the fact that I'm bringing 2 kids with me and whatever. The one to babysit for the baby and the baby, because I would do attachment parenting in those old days. I wouldn't leave my kids, whatever. The point is, you can tiptoe into this and expand it according to your needs and desires over your lifetime. I can't think of anything better than this, honestly. I don't, if you're looking for something better, you invite it right to me and tell me what you found, because I just don't, I can't imagine it. Okay, that's all I would say.
Great. Thank you so much. I do want to go ahead and just welcome Bossy and Miriam. Welcome to you as well. And as we're getting ready to close up, I did see somebody ask, how long is the special discount available? It is available for the next 48 hours. So I would urge everyone who is ready to get started to grab their spots now. It does look like, if I'm counting correctly, I think we have just 9 spots left to be able to get to join that extra special meet and greet with Sarah Chana. So please make sure to grab your spot now. You can also, again, if you're having any difficulties or if you have questions about registering, please just put your name and your telephone number right here in the chat box. We do close registration at 25 people so that we can, again, keep it personalized and make sure that everybody is getting their questions answered, everyone's getting the attention that they need. We take it seriously when we say that you're going to become a certified coach. We really mean it. That is something that we're not trying to, pack on the line with 100 people who don't get any attention. You will get attention. You will get a lot of supervision on these live calls. Plus, again, afterwards, if you choose another supervision course, we have that available to people who are looking for additional time together. But it's really important. So for those who are ready to go, make sure you go right now. Hannah, if you could just put that link one more time. I see somebody asking again for it. I can put it here on the screen, but Hannah will put it back into your chat box. You can click on it and grab your spot. Thank you so much, Hannah. And to everyone who joined us today, thank you for spending your time here with us. We certainly look forward to seeing as many of you as possible starting in the Academy. To remind everyone, your first module will be sent out on Monday, December 2nd, and then your first live will be on Thursday, January 2nd. So stay tuned for lots more information to come. Keep an eye out on your email inbox from Jewish Workshops. That's where all of the information will come from. And if you have any questions after we close up today, please feel free to email jewishworkshops@jewishworkshops.com, or you can always give us a call, 718-736-2925. Please make sure that if you have any questions or need anything else, I'm going to keep the webinar open for just another couple minutes, even after we're finished here, just in case you need to get your information put in there. And then we will have Hannah or Tzipora give you a call shortly. Thank you so much. Thank you, Sarah Chana. We love having you here.
Thank you for having me. I hope to see you all really soon. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.